Welcome back, viewers. From today's video onwards, we are going to review the Nitrux OS. So this is the website of Nitrux OS, nxos.org. So the Nitrux OS is powered by Debian. So the base of this OS is Debian OS. It is using the KDE Plasma, which is highly modded, and frameworks, and the store contains applications in AppImage format. This is how the desktop looks for Nitrux OS. The latest release is Nitrux 3.7. Let us check out the system requirements. I think it is the net is not working. Okay, so we are now online again. The minimum requirements for Nitrux OS installation is 4 GB of RAM. The CPU should have 2 GHz speed with 64-bit architecture. So these are the requirements for the motherboard, CPU and RAM. And it should have EFI partitions. UEFI support should be there, or it will also run in legacy BIOS. Motherboard should have support for the USB boot. And for the screen, at least 512 video RAM should be there. TDD acceleration should be there. Any GPU supported by the Mesa drivers like Radeon, AMD GPU, i9, 945, Iris, etc. is supported, except GPUs requiring no driver. Any GPU supported by the NVIDIA proprietary driver, that should also work. For storage, at least 14.17 GB must be available to the Calamares installer to create the root partition. Do not use a single partition layout when using manual partition or replace partition options. So you should never use a single partition layout while using the manual partition or replace partition options. And network, you should have the network. If it is not available, then also the installer will work, but then you will not be able to update the system later on. And for audio, any audio device supported by the Linux kernel, that will be good enough. Any audio chip that can support that can be supported, or it is supported by Linux kernel, it will work. So this is it. These are the good enough system requirements to run the Nitrux OS on your system. And here you can see the download is there, so you can download the ISO from here. So we will check out the download link. It will open the SourceForge page for Nitrux OS, and from there you can download this ISO for Nitrux NX Desktop. So the desktop of Nitrux OS is called NX Desktop. It is a fork, or we can say heavily modded KDE desktop. So how it is developed, how it works, what are the features, everything we will check out in the desktop review. So I am not going in much detail. Now let us first check out the Nitrux OS features. So those are more important. So Nitrux is a Linux desktop distribution built from Debian. It uses the Calamares installer and includes the NX Desktop on the KDE Plasma Fire desktop environment and the KDE Applications. So it is based on the KDE Plasma Fire desktop, and it contains all the KDE applications. It is focused on simplicity. So it emphasizes the use of AppImages to manage end user software. Nitrux does not use systemd as the init system. Instead uses the OpenRC, a simple init and service manager. MauiKit and Maui Applications. So it includes a suite of convergent applications called Maui Applications. We use MauiKit, a free and open source convergent cross-platform UI framework, to create this application. So partly they contain the KDE applications, and partly the MauiKit applications and Maui applications will be there. Updated software on every release. So it is a very up-to-date Linux distributions thanks to use of latest Debian base and Liquorix kernel. So this is additional feature. It uses the low latency Liquorix kernel. It is an enthusiast Linux kernel designed for uncompromised responsiveness in interactive systems. Nitrux uses additional performance enhancements such as allowing inodes to be replaced at any location on the file system, compression using the Z standard with compression at level 6. So this is also another feature, great feature of Nitrux, and a verification of the compressed blocks using the checksum to hide corruption. So that is added benefit of using the Z standard compression at level 6, and there is a automatic verification of compressed blocks to avoid corruption of data. It is a high performance desktop and workstation. So Nitrux includes enhancements such as better garbage collection, asynchronous garbage collection, avoiding the synchronous updating access or modification times. ZSAP is enabled by default. So this is another feature of Nitrux OS, and also changes include the rate at which the VFS caches are reclaimed, enabling asynchronous non-blocking I/O. So what happens is sometimes during the asynchronous garbage collection, what will happen? It will block the I/O. So during the garbage collection, the data transfer, that is the input output, will stop working because some of the blocks have been marked as dirty or under the garbage collection. So that is avoided by enabling asynchronous non-blocking I/O and reducing the aggressivity with which the kernel swaps out anonymous memory related to page cache and other caches. So you pay attention to this, and later on when you install your system, you have to check out everything, whether it has been there in the system or not, and how it is working, and how much performance difference you feel as compared to other Linux distributions. So that is for you to feel. I can just show you the things, but the feel you are going to take. I will get the feel. I will show you some feel that will be seen from the review of the desktop, but the complete feel you can only take when you install it on your system. Exceptional system integrity. So Nitrux is an immutable Linux distribution, meaning that no changes occur to the content of the root directory by default. We use overlay root, which allows us to provide new distribution versions more accurately. An immutable operating system is a system that once installed cannot be modified. On Nitrux, the root directory is set to be immutable, meaning no changes occur to the contents. It also makes the system more resistant to tampering, malware, and simplifies maintenance. So now I can give you an example of immutable system. Your Android mobile. So whenever you get a new update, the new update is installed in partition B. So there will be two partitions, partition A, partition B. So whenever a new release of operating system is available, it is installed in the partition B. So when you reboot into the partition B. The partition A remains there on your system, but it is old partition and it will not be used for the all the further boots. So partition B will boot and your system will be completely new. So any changes to the files on partition A will not be there. All the updates will be done to the partition B, and you will henceforth boot from partition B till the next update comes, which will be update or upgrade, which will be done to again partition A. So system will keep rotating between the two partitions at every major release of the Android. So this is the scheme, and also the user application data remains separate from the Android system. So there is separate partition for the user. So all user applications, user data remains separate, and the root partition, that is the Android system partition, it is partition A and partition B, plus there will be one separate partition for the user data. So if the system fails, user data is safe, and user or any hacker cannot do wrong things to the system. So system and user are separated in a different partition. So there are different schemes of implementing the immutable system. The Nitrux OS is doing via the overlay root. The Android is doing it differently, but it is kind of, both are kind of immutable systems. So further when we go ahead, we will check out other immutable distributions. For example, Fedora has got two such systems, two such flavors for immutable systems that we will also check, and we will. There are many other Linux distributions also offering immutable experience or immutable Linux distribution also. So that we will check in some other videos in future. You can check out the review here. There is one review. And what is the use case for Nitrux? So you can use it to do the office work. You can listen to music, watch movies, chat, games, You can do photo editing, content creation, and whatever you want. So it is possible to use the system for all the known use cases. There is nothing wrong. You can do it for coding also, because it is an immutable system. So coders will also have added advantage, because system stability will be very high, and once you are set up your coding system, system will not crash, the base will not crash. So you don't have to waste your time rebuilding your system, and those all coding applications, system settings, the application settings, everything, they will be not lost. So that's it for the introduction to Nitrux OS. In the next video, we are going to do the installation of Nitrux OS desktop in a virtual machine, and then we will check out the desktop itself. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.